Let me just double check the stream. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Tony, thank you for being here. Waiting for Bookmap. Okay. Excellent. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you for being here. Lifer the Gem, man. Shout out to West Salvador. Shout out to Dirt Road, Vitality B, Gabriel, Lifer Adam. Appreciate all you beautiful souls here on the live, man. You people are awesome. Thank you for being here and sharing your most precious asset with me and the team over at Bookmap here. We really appreciate each and every one of you for just sharing your positive energy, your life, love, and happiness with us. And shout out to Bookmap. I appreciate Bookmap for letting me host these beautiful live streams, webinars. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's get Bookmap off the screen. Let's talk about Bitcoin. So the 15-minute was overbought, and it had to come on down. You know, I was kind of gambling there at the beginning of the live stream, waiting, hoping, you know, that we could get the move back to the upside. The 1 hour still looks good. You just have, you know, I don't really like opening longs until the 15-minute can reset, you know. That first long I was up on, right? You know what I mean? Took a little bit of, bit of gain, small gain. It really wasn't a huge trade, but was really feeling out the market. The idea now we're seeing is that the 15-minute was oversold, but you want to wait for the 15-minute to come down on the Stokes, get below the dotted line. Sometimes it wiggles around, but most of the time you're going to get one or two bounces and you'll get a move back to the upside. On the stochastic RSI, that's one of my main trading tools. Like, it's funny, if you ever do a bare bones, and what I mean by bare bones is if you had to strip away all your tools, what tools would you keep? And it's funny, I did an experiment today technically on the live stream where I jumped on in to using CoinTrader Pro, like a free trading, and what would I use just to see what I needed to see was just the RSI and the Stokes. So it taught me that those are my favorite, you know, main indicators that I go to. Those are my go-to indicators that I'm always going to kind of keep reusing over and over again. All right, so this tells me that we've now broken down into more of like a falling wedge, or even can start to look somewhat like it has, to me, descending triangle vibes. You know, you kind of have this flattened bottom, and you're heading further to the downside. So the chance that this does go lower is that's a descending triangle. You also lost a point of control, you know what I mean? But we are getting oversold. I always look for the divergence here. Now, what I backtested in my life is this is divergence. What I bet we could see is a possible liquidation for Bookmap. All right. Shout out to Sean. Thank you for jumping on in. Shout out to GF Burke. Thank you for being here. Jacob Bauer, everyone here. Appreciate you all. All right. So to me, that was probably a small liquidation. All right. Not a bigger one. And we'll see. Let's load up Bookmap and see what's going on. Now, you can keep Bookmap sensitive or lighter. It depends on your style of trading, you know, what you want to see. I like to zoom in, but mainly I like to see the bigger levels of liquidity, in my humble opinion. So, like, I can't tell you how many times when I see a whale order up here, we end up going to it, right? So right now, if I look, I got a 29,000 order for 930 Bitcoins. Now, these numbers are real Bitcoins on the exchange. These aren't like, you know, orders or anything. These are like that person wants to sell 1,050 Bitcoins and 8.8, you know, this one wants to sell 452.18 Bitcoin. All right. Tony, God bless you. Thank you for being here. So you see an order up here at about 30,000 and you see an order down here at about 29. How's that audio? How's everything? Everyone seeing everything nice and complete? So the idea behind this, right, and is that Bookmap likes to show you where the biggest orders are, and I'll tell you what, the price likes to find the biggest amount of money. So to me, it's like, oh, we come down to 29.9, might dip it to 28.8 into a wick, and then we rip back up to possibly 30K. Like, that's the spelling on the wall, you know, the writing so far. It doesn't mean that's going to happen for sure, but it does tell me that this guy would like to get filled. We don't always fill, but I say I'd like to take a statistical analysis of it, but I know the majority of the time I call short. When I see a big order up here, we get a huge short short squeezes, and the majority of the time when I call long, a long squeeze, well, when I call a long and I call a short squeeze, I mean, and the same thing here whenever we see big fat liquidity. So my descending triangle, and then you have 29,000. And so then I look and I'm like, well, what would be the measured move if this thing is a descending triangle that breaks to the downside? Whenever I see a flatter bottom on price action, even if it's kind of wicked and, and a more descending top, I'm going to go towards that descending triangle idea. And, lo and behold, that's 28,890, 29,000. So if this decides to break down, which it makes them, look, 1, 2, 3, you can't, you have to remain bearish when you repetitively can't get above a resistance. As long as you keep trading simple and you don't use your mind, like you don't use your crazy emotions, oh, what's going on? No. Couldn't get above, couldn't get above, couldn't get above. Do you have a really severe divergence? Not really. They're both swinging down. Yeah, it's like barely a Class C divergence. Nothing really too strong here. The best bet you have is that the falling wedge on the 7-minute could break you back up to the top of the pattern. And this is just talking small time frame ideas, right? Now, I would begin to remain short for Bitcoin due to these ideas. Okay. So, and then what I like to do is find my patterns. I don't like to look at Bookmap yet. I like to do my update, look at my patterns, look at Bitcoin, and then, right, find my targets, and then I look at Bookmap. And I'll tell you what, maybe not every time, but 80% of the time, a target or very close vicinity of my target will be on Bookmap. And I'll say, well, that bigger channel wants to break down, and then there's the liquidity to call for it. And it says, wow, there's someone there, and they're, you know what I mean? And so that tells me to pay attention. You know what I mean? That tells me to be watchful. All right. So it's just interesting. In the Discord voice chat, can people ask a question? Or are you guys unable to unmute? Interesting. Well, I can see the chat anyway on YouTube. Bookmap, thank you for supporting the Life Revision. Sam Healy, yeah, shout out to the hardest working man in the game. Thank you, Lukochi. I appreciate you. It is not easy. Anyone that wants to work my days is definitely going to work a lot, But I love it. And if that many people can learn, that's the key, right? To produce good education for other people. So to me, Bookmap's simple. Like, I don't go too crazy with it. I don't get too heady with it. I listen to what it tells me. When I see, so I'm more bearish right now, right? So there's no reason, the charts, there's no reason to open up a long at the present moment, right? Nothing says, hey, grab a long, right? Now, the falling wedge could break to the upside, right? But the thing is, my whole point is we break out, then we make a flag or we do some retest or something here, then I'd grab a long, right? Because this has been a key area of resistance. And until we break that key area, now if we lose down here, find something here, and then I find divergence, then, But right now I'm bearish because the coin, Bitcoin can't get above previous resistance, no matter how hard it works, no matter how many times we get a move up. It doesn't seem to work. We even started the morning nicely bullish with the pump. Things were going well. We lost it all and got bearishly engulfing immediately within, 1 hour into the New York session. We're trying to bounce. The 1 hour is oversold, and you kind of expect to bounce from it. 1 hour has kind of a divergence because that's not as sharp as that one. But it's also chop. And price action is in chop right now. And to me, it's still it's got some descending triangle vibes. There is the idea that we're in a diamond here. And we're in this just super, this may just get super long. there's a chance we're in this type of diamond and we do break out of it, but it's just, and we just chop up and down for the next, we could go chop up for the next week, I expect this price action in the summertime. Summertime is tough. Anyone who trades all summer, this will be my like fourth summer. I remember because in the stock market, I would always kind of like trade way less, because I started trading 25 years old, buying and selling things. By 29, I was, looking at the charts, looking at gold and silver. 30 to 34, 35, I was trading hardcore. And then I got into crypto, right? And when I was about 34 years old, I'm 40 now. And wow, right? I can't believe how much has changed in those like coming up on 7 years now. Yeah, no, I found crypto 2016 in the spring. So it's been 7 years since I've known. And it's funny, I knew about crypto before I knew about Bitcoin, which is kind of weird, right? I saw a guy with an Ethereum shirt on in the street, and I said, I've seen that. What is that? And he's like, oh, it's Ethereum. And he told me about all the altcoins and coin market cap. He didn't really break down Bitcoin like that. He just talked about altcoins and all these little tokens. And I was like, so I started looking at these tiny tokens on coin market cap every day. I would literally, I can still remember it. This would be my morning at work. I'd get to work. I'd open this up and I'd just scan. And I remember I'd watch the movie Tron, and one coin was called Tron. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I like that one. And it attracted me. And eventually a lot of people did like that coin. And it would go from like 2 to like 24 cents. And it caused a frenzy. It broke Binance. People were trying to buy and sell. It was out of control. And Binance like shut down like while I was trying to get in and out of my orders. But coin market cap, big place, to key in. And that's another cool thing about Bookmap. Is you can add other assets. It doesn't have tons of assets, right? But it has some of the main, probably the top 10 to 15 main cryptocurrencies. Like it's got Doge order book here. So we can look at a Doge order book and see kind of what's happening. It's got, some mainly the bigger coins you can start seeing. And it has many assets outside of crypto too, as you guys know. But and the fact that it does crypto as well is amazing. So 29,300 for Bitcoin, and it's been it just that 29.5. Like we have to close candles above key levels, and even though it's funny that I wish it wasn't 29.5 in a way, because anyone who's even a beginner would be like, well, isn't 29.5 obvious? And you'd be like, yeah. Well, sometimes the obvious levels are the obvious levels. That's another thing. That's one. Actually, I want to kind of make a segue into that, because as a trader, things look complex and hard and you're figuring things out. And then every once in a while, you'll see a trade that looks just really simple to you and everything looks like it is. And everything looks like it's supposed to, right? And next thing you know, you look and the trade plays out. And as a beginner, you're like, oh, it couldn't have been that easy. But sometimes it isn't as hard as you think, is what I mean. Like sometimes it's, you know what I mean? So the point what I'm making is, as you continue to trade, you build your a trading style, which have some complexity to it, and you kind of break through the motions of trading. But every once in a while, there will be what's called a gimme moment, where the trade is so super obvious to you. For me, that's when like the 4-hour time frame has this like perfect arched, curved stochastic. Like the stochastic will just have this like almost like as if you drew it with a compass. It'll have just a nice curving semicircle ready to move, and and then there'll be some other things that I'm looking at like inside of the charts and stuff like that, and boom, like you'll just get this, I'm not saying this has it right now, but this kind of had the idea here with this, and we did get this nice pump up for about 12%. Even that little move there, it's a little under, it's about 10%. But we got into this coin here, and this trade is still continuing to the upside, up 19, up 16%. The way I teach trading, right, is all about momentum. Momentum is moved by the actual order books on Bookmap. See, everyone thinks that, before I had Bookmap, you're not really sure the rhyme or reason. Now, some could argue you don't need to know the rhyme or reason, and sometimes that can be true. But to me, I'd like to know, like, it rains on you, and I could just assume it's just water hitting me. But it's nice to understand what a cloud is, and that water vapor comes up into the cloud, you know what I mean? Like, that's, like, I could just live my life and not care what, but it's nice, I'd also, there's more, and when it comes to Bookmap, so many times, the indicators to me have just been a little teetered to the high side, and Bookmap was able to tell me how to avoid getting on the wrong side of the trade. We have watched so many short squeezes on my live stream. We really should get an award for like the most short squeezes, if there is something. We should do like, maybe I should make the first show, like, and like we gotta have people scanning the internet for the crypto shows, and we should start doing like some type of crypto show award, like, most longs ever hit, most leverage trades in a row, whatever it may be. Biggest losses, biggest wins of the month. It would be pretty fun. But so anyone want to do that with me, DM me on Twitter. But so 30,000 has an order, and 29,000 looks like it's going to get touched. So if I had to make a trade and a probability call, it would tell me that we're going to see 29K like later on today. And possibly 28.8. Okay, so and then this kind of says there's a chance too. Now we're very oversold, so see we are getting a little bit of a bounce here out of this falling wedge. If you look at the 15-minute, it's beat. You would expect the bounce here now, but to me it's chop. Like we'll probably head back to the top of the channel. Now I'll change my story. We'll break this point of control and we get all the way above here and we bounce. That would be amazing. Interesting enough, there's a bit of a divergence here on the 15. Swing down to swing down, but way flatter here. Way flatter. You see that? That's substantial enough. I mean, they're both swinging down. And how I teach this, and I think I talked about this last week. And again, I know it's a Bookmap segue, but these understanding what divergences are and Bookmap together is going to be really what gives you the mental fortitude to be able to sell close to the local or even the daily tops, and to be able to buy into blood when the market's dumping, because you'll be looking for divergences, and people will be really, really, they'll be really bearish. Their emotions will be out of control. You'll be looking for divergences. So divergences will make sense to you. And once you see the divergence, that's your key, And eventually what happens is you train your brain to buy divergences. So you don't really see red dumps anymore. Like for instance, because I can remember my mind change when I first got into crypto, and it was I'd see a red candle and I'd be like, all right, like I'm gonna bug. I got an emotional response to and then I started thinking a little different, and it also affected the way I thought and the way I behaved, because I was emotional trader at the beginning. The idea behind this is I'm looking for divergences now. Like my mind has totally changed. So when I see red candles, like I'm not really even thinking of a red dump, and that's why it's funny. I can remember if I was a beginner trader and I watched myself now on YouTube, or even a trader that was just calm while the red, I'd be like, how is he so calm? But now I get it. Like if you were just your whole life looking for divergences, then that calmness would make sense, because you're just, your mind is now trained not to go after. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about that. I had a fan on here that I wanted to put down. Sorry about that. So you're looking for the divergence, and now here's the last thing I'll kind of break down about divergences. And so look, what's the trajectory of this line? And you could say it's, I'm not drawing a perfectly straight line, but that's the trajectory. If this line kept going to infinity, that's where it would go. And then you look at this line, and you'd be like, if this line kept going to infinity, and you can see that eventually, maybe somewhere even on screen, if we could extend it, but likelihood, somewhere around this region, it looks like these would hit each other. You know what I mean? And if these lines would hit each other, it tells me that there's a move to the upside coming, basically, because it's a divergence. Divergence means to me that these two lines will divide each other into if these lines keep going into infinity, their trajectory, or even if they had lasers pointing out, like their overall point will cross the line. After major divergence, I see lots of short squeezes on Bookmap. Yes, almost every time. You know, you'll watch it. You'll see this like clockwork. And the more you work with Bookmap and divergences, the more, I believe, the more pleasurable trading becomes. You know, I start seeing things that I never thought possible, and it starts making sense to me. So it just becomes a way of life almost. You open up Bookmap, you look at price action, and you go from there, right? So Bookmap is kind of like checking the weather for later on. Totally. And, you know, also it just reiterates my technique. I can't believe how many times I've drawn a bear flag. I've drawn this. I've drawn that. Now, could we get all the way to 29,000, 29.9? That's that like, and where's 29.9? Look, resistance. Oh, no, it's actually 29.6. Let's see. But there probably will be a resistance there. Whoever places these orders is usually using, you know, yeah, so you got 29.888, and then these things top out at 29.95, you know, 29.50. So, like, this would be your next, you know, area to have to break through to get back up to that 30,300 level. Now, adding instruments on Bookmap and configuring things for Bookmap. Like, say I wanted more. They got dialogue controlled on their connections menu, right? So, yeah, like, say, can you get, you know, your connections, get a KuCoin connection, right? I believe I have it already, right? Oh, yeah, so you hit add connection here. But I already have KuCoin anyway, but it's saying I use Bookmap data, like, because they kind of amass a bunch of different data together, right? That's, you know, but there's, you can definitely go through other markets. Now, I used to do this all the time, but I've had this set on Bookmap data for so long. But once I did hit here, add a connection, right? And I could say create a new connection if I wanted to. And then I'd find here Binance Futures, whatever you'd want, you know what I mean? Tradeovate, TradeStation. It's got everything. Even for the people that do NASDAQ futures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's something I'll actually get implemented. I'm going to get the NQ on there because that's something I'm starting to look at more often. And whenever I see people doing things, I want to help, and I'm really observant. So I could be like a great help for that type of stuff. So, but let's see, you know, funny. Now we need MEXC. That's the one thing. I want to start getting MEXC up in the mix here. Kraken futures. Like, that's something I've never, you know, never really seen. It's weird though. So you hit +1 here. And see, I want to add more connections. Oh yeah, the exchange. It's weird. Krakens doesn't support futures for American users. Oh, okay. But then you can change your tick size. Like, if you want to see something smaller or bigger, or you want to see, like, you know, like, you want to see it by like a very, very small granularity. I like it on 10, and then you can change your tick size, right? And so here now you would click KuCoin there, right? Login failed, unable to log in, please try a new exchange. So maybe it doesn't do Yeah, KuCoin. Now hold on. I just hope I didn't. Hold on. Yeah. All right. Now it looks like it did change my data though. No, we're good. We still got the same orders around us. So like to me, it's a slow Tuesday and that's another thing too. After 10, 20 years of trading, I think I was saying this last week, is you just like the summer months will crawl by a little bit, but they're also really good months to pay attention to the market. I mean, it's weird. I never think it's always a good idea to pay attention to the market, even if it's a couple hours here and there. Even if you're on vacation, it's good to take a break from anything in life. But for me to always experience how the market ebbs and flows has meant a lot to me when I look back. At the time, I didn't think so, but when I look back, I was really happy that I went, because I'm able to now when the overall market structure changes, I can see so much more, and I can understand more about basically where the market is and what's happening. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like it's weird. Like you have to first make a connection. All right here, configure a connection. Once you make that connection, you then have to subscribe to that connection and then subscribe to what the instrument that you want. Like Matic would be cool. Or Sol's been actually interesting recently too. Right? Perp, multi-book. And usually it'll take some time to load the history. Must be a dialog box somewhere here. Yeah, there we go. Whenever you got multiple windows. And there's something with like a smaller tick size, you can get a kind of an idea of what it's like to be in the nitty gritty here. Right? Now, that tells me they may scoop down here, right? They're going to go down to 68. Yeah, I mean, you can see that big old order down there, right? So, like, what I wouldn't long right now until if I see they get filled and then maybe some liquidations, then there's a chance that we want to long, right? So, I want to see liquidations before I long. I'd like to see divergence in the liquidations, just like divergence in real life. And I just juxtapose those two ideas, right? Whenever I'm looking at a chart. So if we move over to Solana, and Solana's been interesting. It's had a lot more liquidity than I would have thought, and it bounced back. I mean, from the low of like the last few months, which was let's see here. I believe it was 15. I could be wrong. We'll take a look. But yeah, bottomed out here at it took a wick down to 1333, a wick to about 14, candles closing around 1450. And then it had a beautiful move all the way back up to 31. So it basically did 100% gain. And then I was looking for a bounce here, and we got it. See how it bounced here off of this previous resistance, bounce. The daily's now a little overbought, telling me that it wants to consolidate on that. And it does, and that level there is what, $22. And I'll see, like, does Bookmap have any orders down there? But when I do look at Bookmap, it does suggest we go down to 2450. Just on the smaller scale idea, it suggests that there's way more liquidity a little further down than there is to the upside. You can see that. This is brighter yellow. There's just more liquidity here. So Solana could possibly come down, make a right shoulder. See how it's got like a shoulder ahead, maybe a right shoulder there, and then break out, and that could be a symmetrical triangle too as well. I do like this, how it's flagging out, but we don't want it to lose. See, remember, you want it to stay above the 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame. But what I still see is maybe some type of consolidation here that could be going on. Just as long as it can stay in that, and not, as long as it doesn't break that low at 22. I mean, Solana has a pretty good path ahead. And again, like Bookmap, unless I'm looking at something really small, Bitcoin's going to somewhat control the market. If I have a really good setup on Doge and it looks great, and Bitcoin takes a dump, unless there's some amazing news and something else here and there is happening, but 90% of the time, 99 even, Doge is going to take that move down. Solana's going to, every coin's going to take that move down with Bitcoin, right? So it's like an extended update on the stream. You have to connect first. Kraken doesn't support futures for Americans. Does Bookmap have total 3? I don't believe so. These are questions I would have to, I want to sit and ask, and I don't want to, not know the answer to. But I don't believe so. I really don't. Those are hard. Those assets are, hard to get a reading from API-wise, but I don't know. I also don't know. So I don't like to say things that I don't, talk about things I don't know about, so I'm not sure. All right. So there's our 15-minute long back to the upside. If I was in a long and started to come back up, I may think of closing it into this area and then waiting, missing the pump if it does pump, and then re-getting in at a safer zone, or just, avoiding just the fact that we'll hit this and probably come back down. But now we're just in some chop, right? This is just trading chop 101. But see this is the curve I was just kind of discussing. See how that stochastic, I'll double click this. But see how that stochastic just curved up so nicely? See how it just has this nice curve to the upside? That is really the money. That just, Now I like it when it's a perfect curve. But look, it even called a bullish divergence there. The indicator. This indicator has divergences built in. It says RSI divs. So it will have divergences. Not tons, but a little bit. And then I got this is slight, and we went over it because it's dividing, right? And falling wedges break up 68% of the time. So I would expect this to come up to this point of control. Probably get rejected by 29,400. All right. The only way I'm bullish, if we break back above in the daily, a 4-hour first, but I would love a daily candle closes above 29,005. Also, 29,275, 29,3 is a weekly support of resistance. If we lose it again, it's bam, we lost that there. It's funny. So the last really big trade we had, I had a scalp this morning, great. But last really big trade we had was yesterday morning, this shoulder, inverted head and shoulder to the upside, and we got a massive short squeeze on Bookmap with that. Yeah, so this is again, not as exciting as, last week was awesome. Last week was a little flat, but eventually the trade that I put out on Bookmap itself did play out, and we got to the liquidity. So if you're watching this and then you can keep your Bookmap up and you come to it later, a couple hours later, it'd be fun to kind of each week see that and see kind of how we do, and show you how we make, again, you're not supposed to predict where price is going, but there's a probability that Bookmap has began to create for me using it every day. But I had to use it for 300 days or more straight, over and over again, to really begin to build that relationship with the. It's weird how these aren't people, but there's so much data and information. You build a relationship with the data set, right? And the more you involve your subconscious mind and your mind with the data set, the better you are at reading the data set, and the better you are at making these kind of instinctual decisions that they're intuitive, and they're intuitively instinctive decisions that just kind of, you make them without realizing you make them. I don't know how it happens like that, but it does. It's like this, it just kind of works, before you know it, you've made the decision. It feels like second nature to you, and it's a brain training type of thing. Now, I jump on the live now and I start a live stream, and I do the recording and the talking, and I just, and then think next thing it's over. I'm like, but I remember when I first started live streaming, I'm thinking about so many things, but now a lot of those things have disappeared. It just becomes second nature, right? And everything in life is that way. Trading, like it all, no matter what you're doing, um, and that's why you always benefit from repetitiveness, and from doing something over and over again through the human condition. It creates that subconscious mind connection where you don't have to go into the front, I guess, part of your brain. Like, it's happening on the back end without you realizing. It's just doing its thing, right? So we're battling 29.3 now, and like the liquidity here is closer. It's the closest at 29. It tells me that 29.2 is probably very likely coming, right? And then, you know, I don't know. This is symmetrical. So even if we kind of, it looks more bearish than bullish to me, if I had to make a play. And so, like, I say something like that, watch your book map, watch it for a few hours, And again, I don't know anything. Price action could go anywhere. I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go. You know, I'm open-minded to believe that Bookmap has led me properly this many times, so I continue to use it. Are there any questions in the live chat? Appreciate everyone coming on in. Gabriel, West Salvador, Vitality, Dirt Road, Tradition, Lifer Adam, Tony Rosas, God bless you, brother. Lakochi Coker, GF Burke, Stack McChange in the house, Lifer Adam in the house, Jedi M, my man, Anime Enthusiastic, and was Kaz on Bookmap? I don't know. I don't think so. I remember remember that one time, though, I got Pepe on Bookmap? Remember? And someone was like, use the perp, and like we figured it out somehow. I don't have Mexi, and no, I don't think I have the data forecast. We're here with you, Sammy. Thank you, Tony. You're the man, dude. Good energy, Tony. I love that. We definitely did get Pepe. Remember that? I don't know how we got Pepe. I don't know what we were doing. I have to go back to that episode and watch myself get. They have 100 SHIB, which is cool. They have SHIB 100 or SHIB 1000, which is that like perp, which does trade on MEXC. That just got some love real quick. Definitely looks like a little liquidation occurred there. Still more liquidity lower too for them, and then maybe move back up, but the market's been in a holding pattern, And I've seen this before, specifically August. And, I've seen dumps. I'm here too. Shout out to Jimmy. God bless you, Jimmy. GF Burke, thank you for being here, man. Shout out to everyone being here. You guys are awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's you can't make something out of nothing. I always talk about the market very similar to surfing, we can zoom into very small time frames and we begin to play them, So like the 7-minute, we can begin to scalp 7-minute time frame, right? Look, 7-minute overbought again, kind of coming back down. I got a descending vibe from this setup, but it doesn't mean it's a guarantee, right? So Bookmap uses total orders placed on all the exchanges, only the big ones. I mean, it amalgamates the biggest ones. You can have Binance, Bybit, and OKX. It's like, that's really going to move the market. Yeah. Hey, you can see the chats. Always here. Know that. Love always here. Thank you, man. Yo, Sammy. Shout out to John Connor, man, for jumping on in. Appreciate everyone here on the Bookmap Live. Thank you for jumping on in. So what we're trying to, what I'm more bearish than bullish. Liz, I wouldn't open up a long until we break this high. And really, it's really 29.5, right? And we made a nice little high there, but it was lackluster. So, workout time, but listening to Sammy. Wow, working out at one. See me. I'm the type of guy who has to just get it done. It's like I do hard workouts that, like, if I think about them for more than a half an hour, like, I'll scare myself into not doing them because they're just like, they're pretty hardcore. So whenever I'm doing a workout, I just get it. I have to get it in first thing. Like, I wake up, I say hi, I do the charts and stuff, and then I work out. Like, I usually don't eat any bread. I don't like, but back in the day, I did used to work out later on. Funny. Shout out to everyone giving me messages. A lot of awesome messages and a lot of testimonials for the last week or two. I really appreciate that. Testimonials are the greatest way to give back to the community and to me, because other people read them and then you inspire others to change their lives. So it's the best thing. And you guys share really true stories. Some deep insight in those testimonials. Terminator, right? You guys are funny. $10 million. My bad for the typo. I ruined the show. You guys are funny. What is the price of Bitcoin in 2027? Workout time. You guys are funny. Pull up on you. Shout out to D Shuffle, man. Thank you for being here. I dropped my testimony yesterday after stream, brother, man. Yo, Lifer, man. I love you, man. And that thing hit me real hard, bro. And I'm happy that you're okay. And I'm happy that you're in such a better place, man. God bless you. Watching you on all channels. Best teacher ever. FUD expert. I love you, man. Thank you. And honestly, I'm super excited to bring you on and see what happens. So you have no idea. Everyone that I bring in is a connection of my consciousness and a connection of my own intentions and desires. So if you're part of it, man, there's something special going on. It means you really care. And I'm excited. We need to turn a corner. There's we're all working so hard, but there's just a few missing connections that we can really turn it up. So I'm really excited that you're around, FUD expert. And I just have great positive vibrations and high expectations, man. We're already working. I know, man. You guys are grinders, man. And you can see me. You can see I can get all the help I can get. So I appreciate it. I'm not perfect by any means. I got the grind and the effort, and that's what most people don't. I got the grind, effort, and discipline. Everything else will follow through. We just got to keep pushing. That's why I used to go to start a company or start trading, start anything. Without the discipline, you're just not going to get there. Okay? Nothing's going to happen by itself. So nothing's really changed. We're pretty flat on the order books here for Bookmap. And to me, every time I lose a key level, that becomes a resistance. So, and that's to any decent trader. Right here, I mean, bounce. If you can't flip 29,350, expect more downside, period. Right? And then usually when things, that's when I start bringing it into really small time frames. But even the 5 and the 7 are overbought now and want to roll over. Okay. And you're below moving averages. Slight divergence there, which tells you could get a bottom liquidation there. Swing down. There's a little divergence right there on the 7. Interesting enough, because that one moves down, but not half as sharp as that. But again, can you get back above the zone? I would scalp a quick long if you can flip 29,360, but the only thing going for us now is the 21 starting to separate, and the longer that happens, the more likely you are of at least a bounce back into liquidity and get rejected again. And Burke, man, thank you for coming into the fold too, man. So we got Burke, we got FUD Expert, we got Lakochi, we got Sean, we got Jamie, we got Jay, we got me and my wife, right? I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Jamie, Sean, Jay, Lakochi, FUD Expert, me, my wife, and Burke, man. 8 people on the team now. I mean, that's amazing. So the 50-minute suggests we could get a bounce. It is oversold, but it's low, and you could even see another dip. You got to break through support and resistance levels, and you can clearly see now here. There's another one. Previous support becomes new resistance. You wick there. You bounce clearly 1, 2, 3 candles. You wicked. You bounced 1, 2, 3. Came up, got rejected, fell below, and now that's your next resistance point. And this is what I call chop. This is just chop price action. Until I get clear levels defined, So the key is I remain short because you can clearly, we're losing previous resistances. We keep losing previous supports, and we have major resistance above us that we keep falling off. So to open a short here would probably be the smartest idea with a stop loss somewhere out here, right? Boom, and get the move to the downside. That's what the charts convey is the most highly likely scenario. You have to be deep in your TA bag to trade this market as it is. Bookmap is a great asset for insight, for probabilities, and confirmation. We do this live daily and nightly, 7 days a week. It's pretty crazy, right? How much we trade. 29,000 and then that 29.9. We're kind of stuck in between, and there's Bookmap says we go lower. My TA says we go lower unless we can break above 29.5. That's a descending triangle. See it? It has descending triangle vibes, and you can't seem to break. And you also, kind of a shoulder, head, shoulder. It's almost a complex head and shoulder there in a way. So Bear City, man. Bear City right here for Bitcoin. 1 hour is oversold, attempting to get the bounce. You got to get back up. First thing you got to do is break above 29,350. Then you can talk. You get it? Because that's your support that is now resistance. So I just watch smaller time frames, and once I hit a key level, then I look for the flag and I trade. If I don't get the key level, you got to remain short. That's how I'm playing Bitcoin today. And Bookmap has the liquidity closest to us at 29,000. So I suggest we go lower into the afternoon, but again, anything could happen. So John Connor will save us all. Skynet fall. You guys are funny. You never know. Yeah, but even the 1 minute's like rolling over. Best thing for the first video would be describing how you got into trading and your trading journey into a quick 1 minute vid. Like you did a lot of times. I love that and think new people will also. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm using Bookmap to watch Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin to watch the crypto markets. If Bitcoin goes sideways, some alts can pop, but for the most part, the market watches whatever Bitcoin does, and so. And this is again, once I get a key indication, so right now, shorting could be the best scenario. So now, okay, so here's a great way. So you're like, well, how do we make money then? Well, we can short the market on futures using MEX Global, right? We can also go to, I have a list of 3L and 3S tokens, some on KuCoin. They also have the similar tokens on MEX Global, all right? But here I'm going to hit a list called KuCoin 3S. And so now we want to see, little flag breaking out there technically, but now what we want to see is, did the shorts look good, you know? And I just keep building it. Now, Matic is a bigger coin that will move. So if Bitcoin dumps, Matic, the short for Matic will move to the upside, right? So like it already had a nice pump in the last hour recently. It's more bullish, right? And they have 3S tokens. They're ETFs, all right? But they have them on KuCoin, GetAO, MEXC. And then you can also just trade the perpetual. It's funny, I always teach how when they bunch up, price likes to pump up to the 200 SMA. And like, boom, that's exact. And like you had a shoulder, you kind of had a complex inverted. It's so interesting how it all plays out over and over again over time. And I'm not trying to like guarantee, oh, I'm definitely going to, you know, what I'm looking for are a corroborate, you know, an add-on. I'm saying, well, if the liquidity says Bitcoin will move down, then, and I also want to see, well, how do we make money out of today, right? So, and then I want to set these up, and then I'm going to wait for confirmations. But to me, there's a chance that I can make maybe what this looks like, possibly 8 or 9%. On about 5.5. Elephant on Binance Smart Chain, 280 million market cap, insane chart. Thank you. Can you make any sense of the elephant money token chart? Maybe later. I don't know. I'm here on Bookmap, so I don't want to go like too crazy into like the smaller cap stuff. But I'll look at it on my own and put out something in the trading group if you join the trading group, because now you put it on my radar and I'm interested. It's a pretty big market cap already, 280 million for like one of those tiny coins. But so again, what's the strategy? Because like I could sit here and talk all day. Like, what's the strategy? Here's the deal: you buy Bookmap, okay? You use it on Binance, on Bookmap data for Binance, Bybit, and OKX, and you watch Bitcoin. When you see that Bitcoin is likely going to have a big liquidity grab in an area closest to price action, you begin to do your TA on it, and you can speculate where Bitcoin's going. Once you have a handle on where Bitcoin's going to go, and it makes sense to you, you can find a play on maybe an inverse asset, like a short if Bitcoin's going to go down, or a long if Bitcoin's going to go up. And you kind of, and that's, and in that way, that's how I'm using Bookmap to make gains every day. Now, I may not be using the actual asset Bookmap has here to trade, but I'm using Bookmap to understand where the market is going as a whole and then trading on that idea. All right. So, like, that's the package. That's the idea behind Bookmap and what I'm doing. And it's been very accurate the way I use it for me, right? It tends to go where the most liquidity is on the book. And so I heed that. And when I see a lot of liquidity on the book, I listen. And it's pretty simple. And every time I've listened, I have not been the person getting short squeezed. Like, or I've opened up a long and watched the short squeeze pay me many, many times over on the live channel. Like, we've done it publicly in front of people. There's people that will corroborate this and say, I sat there and watched the lifer do it, and he did it with Bookmap, you know? So it's an amazing tool. I'm blessed to have known it and gotten to use it, right? And so, yeah. I'll be honest, the 15-minute does look like it could pump to the upside on this falling wedge. It did just break that resistance, thank goodness. It had to. If it didn't break that, we were going to be in trouble there. I do like the rounded movement here, right? But it does suggest maybe we only get to 29,359. But you never know. We could pump all the way to 30K right now. I'm open-minded and anything is humanly possible, right? But there are probabilities that are more likely. Again, you do see this bar at 30,000, which is pretty cool. And when you really zoom in, I mean, it's the biggest order, really. You're kind of already in the other order, so 30K could be on the radar, but the probabilities are to the downside until we break 29.5. Every time I joined the live squeeze, there was a short squeeze about 2 months ago. I was there almost every day. Wasn't that crazy? It was just like I would open up. I was like, there you go. Thank you. Not a small coin at all. Second biggest holder of BNB on chain. I mean, yeah, but it went from like a $2 million market cap to a 280 is what I'm saying. Like it was a smaller coin. Anyway, there's some divergence, a falling wedge. Can you break up to this medium area? And today, like it's, there's other days where it's, Bookmap will have more data too. Like I'll just see more. There'll be like a liquidity, there'll be like 29.4, 29.5 right there. And I'm like, well, we're probably going to go there. We're not getting it today. The book is a lot lighter for, just for whatever reason. BT is shady elephant dev. That's funny. Does it differentiate between buy and sell orders on Bookmap? Yes, of course. By all means. A buy order is big in red and a big in green, and a sell order is big in red. See? So that's a sell, that's a buy. That was a sell, that was a buy. The bigger the circle, the bigger the buy. Like that was a huge buy right there. See that? Every single day, even a Sunday strawberry short squeeze. Remember that? Have you checked the fear today? Wonder where it's at. I believe it was at 50. We'll take a look. I believe it was at 50 though. 53, up a little bit. A little more greed than yesterday at 50. Up a little more into 53. People getting more and more comfortable, right? And they're going to raise that debt ceiling. They did raise the debt ceiling. They're going to have to print money, in my humble opinion. They're going to have to print money. So, and that concludes the live stream of Bookmap today. Not as fun as the other ones, in a way. The other ones, actually, I was able to give a live trade. I mean, technically here was a falling wedge off of the divergence, which is slowly playing out to the upside. Entry in at like 29,273 would actually be in the money right now, that little $80 move. And again, it's low stochastics, lack of bearish momentum on the MACD. These are just things that I look for. However, we got stalled out right there, which made me question the trade. Now I want to see in 13 minutes the secondary this candle did just close, thank goodness, above the resistance. But now I want to see a second candle close above resistance. But that's good for now. Thank you for your time and knowledge, brother. Anytime. Are those spot or left positions or both? On what? This is all, I'm watching Perpetual here. Yeah. But Perpetual drives the market, so. Yeah. And we'll look at Bookmap one more time before I get out of here. And it's also like having a 1 second chart. Like you're watching orders every second coming on in. Just booming. In my lifetime, it's very likely we go lower than higher when you see liquidity that close to price action. But again, I'm not 100%. So, everyone have a wonderful day. May God bless you for being here and for being just, being yourself and being alive and for being on Earth. Thank you so much for kicking it with me during this awesome Bookmap live webinar. I'll be back next week, every Tuesday. And I'll be looking up more ideas and some other things too. I'm going to get deeper into Bookmap. There's some other things that I want to dive into. I'm going to write that on my docket list. But I use the Bookmap, in a simple way that helps me. And I like it. And it works. So if you'd like to get Bookmap, links are in the description of all my videos. There's probably links here too as well. And yeah, I appreciate it. Shout out to everyone that jumped on in. We had a really nice chat. I appreciate that. The chat was bumping. I didn't get to look at the actual live, But wow, we had a good amount of people on the live stream. I appreciate that. So thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate you all for being here. And no, I'll be back tomorrow morning on my live stream on my channel, the Cryptolifer channel. If you didn't know, my name is the Cryptolifer. My name's Sam Price. And I go live every single day, all right, at this channel here at Cryptolifer. I have 45,200 subscribers, 2,500 videos, and counting. You could book one-on-one with me if you'd like. You can also book a class that I teach the last Saturday of every month. I also have traders underneath me that teach classes. I have an amazing leverage trader that teaches a leverage class at 12 o'clock every Sunday from 12 to 2. And yeah, and we make awesome videos. We just do a bunch of stuff here on the channel that we love. I go live every day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and weekends from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So, and there's my live stream right there. Already has 2,000 views. I mean, we're getting basically between 2,000 and 4,000 views on every video. And then in total, the channel in general gets about 10 to 15, sometimes and it's high as 20,000 views a day. So really, really exciting. We're continuing to grow. We have a great team. And yeah, I have a lot of people working together to produce the content and the overall energy at the Cryptolifer show. So jump on in there every single day, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, and weekends 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I also do quick live streams on the weekend mornings that are kind of like the secret little live streams, but the fast Bitcoin updates on Saturday and Sunday morning. Everyone, thank you for being here. Market's actually picking up a little bit, a little more movement here as we get out of into the Tuesday afternoon. And Bitcoin just really steadily holding 29,300. All right. And yeah, wish we could see a little more behavior, but you keep showing up and we keep doing this. And as the market starts to change, wow, we're going to have some crazy webinars. I'll tell you that right now. Have a blessed day. I love you all and thank you for being here.